Okay, we're on the air. And looks like the players are still in the chat room here, so it's almost game time. So Greg is here also, but there seems to be some sort of a technical problem with some feedback whenever he activates his microphone. So I guess I'm going to be doing the commentary mostly, and maybe Greg gets some changes on his end. Maybe he can jump in later. So yeah, so today's game is between Toby Hudson, whose username is 99, and Daniel, and his name is Tuks. So Tuks is playing gold, and 99 of 9 is playing silver. So both players have just entered the game, and Tuks has entered his setup. So he has somewhat of a 99 of 9 type setup, except his rabbits are behind the traps instead of typically where they're on the ends. And 99 of 9 has done his setup, and he has a typical 99 of 9 type setup with the cats in the back. Now in the first move here, Gold has advanced the elephant and used his final step to get his elephant on the same file as the opposing elephant. That usually is a good way to prevent the opponent's elephant from taking 4 steps straight forward and getting right into your territory. Okay, so 99 of 9 is in no rush to send his elephant over. In fact, he only takes just 1 step with his elephant and advances his camel on the west wing, but his final 2 steps were to move his cats, and we don't know what he's trying to set up with those steps there. And Tuks now has advanced his camels. Okay, so 99 of 9 has moved his elephant now to the east wing. He might be preparing to maybe pull the horse out on that side, but it's maybe not, because his camel is on the other wing. His camel is on the west wing, so I don't know if it would do him any good to pull a horse out on that side. So yeah, definitely probably not. And so Tuks here has gone on the offense already. Has advanced his horse on the east wing, threatening to pull a rabbit on that side. So we'll see now if 99 of 9 wants to go back and respond with his elephant, or what he's going to do here. Tuks is a pretty aggressive player, and when they met in their preliminary game, okay, so 99 of 9 here is advancing his camel towards the horse immediately. So that cat step that he had done earlier came in kind of handy because it now allowed his camel to just slip right past the elephant, because the cat allowed it to be unfrozen. So, and then with the final step, 99 of 9 pulled, shifted his rabbit so that it couldn't easily be pulled. Wow. So Tuks now advances his horse even deeper, and has used the other 3 steps to pull the camel out one. Of course, the camel is unfrozen, so it can easily go back. And I don't know what Tuks intends, if he's going to be able to pull out a rabbit here, because the horse can also easily step to the H file and prevent the horse from moving that way, in which case the horse would then have to maybe push the rabbit on the G file with the horse, and that might make it very easy for the camel to take the horse hostage. So I don't think that was a very good thing for Tuks to be advancing the horse even further right now. When the camel gets to that side, I'd probably want to maybe just retreat the horse if I can. So we'll see here. So 99 of 9 is, I think, for the first time thinking a little bit deeper than the other moves. Yeah, so now he's gotten into his reserve, so he's contemplating probably here how to use his camel to get closer to the horse, but also he has to be careful. He can't just move the camel over to the G file, because that will just allow Tuks to flip the camel back over to his side. You're going to see us using a lot of words like flip and hostage and things like that. So if anybody doesn't know what those kind of words mean, there's a good glossary on the wiki books for Arimaa, and it covers a lot of those terms. Also, Carl Junke's book, Beginning Arimaa, has a very good glossary in it, and in fact he defines some terms there that aren't defined in the wiki book. So I highly recommend checking that out. Okay, so after about almost 2.5 minutes thinking, Tuks kind of pretty much did what 99 of 9 pretty much did what I was expecting him to do, which is basically to put his horse on the H file, preventing Tuks' horse from easily being able to run away, and then moving his camel back, and then he used 1 step to advance his cat, and then his final step was to advance a rabbit on the west, or to shift a rabbit on the west wing. Okay, so here now Tuks is realizing that he's got to get his camel back out of there. So he takes 3 steps to shift the horse, to shift 99 of 9's horse over to the G file, and then retreats his horse without having really pulled anything yet. So at this point now, I don't know if it would be advisable yet for 99 of 9 to try to get his camel closer to the horse. He could just shift the rabbit on the G file over to the H file and move the horse back, and then bring the camel over, but that would leave the camel right in front of the elephant, and so the elephant could easily just flip it back and then the camel would have a harder time getting back at the horse. Well, actually, if you did flip it back, the elephant could capture a rabbit in F3 by advancing the camel down and then just using the other 3 steps to capture the rabbit that's on F2. So maybe it might not be such a bad idea to move the camel more towards the gold horse. I'm thinking if he did capture that on the next step, though, so if gold did flip it and then silver captured it, that would probably, though, cause the silver camel to be taken hostage. Okay, so we don't have to contemplate that because 99 of 9 decided not to go down that line. He's instead threatening now to use his elephant to capture the rabbit on F2 by taking 2 steps with his elephant to bring it to G3. And so this is probably a good time for the gold horse to probably retreat further, because somehow gold is going to have to try to defend F3 here pretty soon. And if the elephant becomes involved in defending F3, then that gold horse is on H6 is going to be exposed. So it's a bit of a tough decision for Tuks, because if the elephant isn't involved in defending F3, then he can still stay there. But so Tuks decides to retreat, and also brings his elephant to F4, threatening somewhat of a blockade of the silver elephant. So the silver elephant on this move now will probably have to decide if he wants to get out of there or threaten, being blockaded here. So if the silver elephant does nothing right now, then gold will definitely be able to put like a rabbit on H3 and then back it up with another rabbit or a dog, and that would make it very difficult for the silver elephant to be able to get out. So silver now could push the horse back and bring his elephant to H4, and but that kind of puts the elephant way off on the east wing, but it still might not be a bad move for silver, because it gets the gold horse back moving towards the silver side, and hopefully eventually might have chances of taking that gold horse hostage with the camel. Yeah, so 99 of 9 is thinking a little bit long here on this move as well. Okay, so after about 2 minutes of thinking, he decides to go ahead and push the gold horse with his elephant, and uses that final step to move his dog. Okay, so I think at this point Tuks' horse is probably in a bit of a trouble here. Don't know what kind of counterplay Tuks can create right now. Okay, so he's decided to pull the camel with the elephant, pulling the camel to F5. That threatens the camel capture in F3. So 9 out of 9 has to, I think, take at least 3 steps to respond to that and bring the camel back to F6. Yeah, so he probably couldn't do that. Well, he could use 2 steps to bring the camel back to F6 by advancing the cat up, and then probably use other 2 steps to push the horse back further on the H file towards the silver side. But that would kind of leave the cat exposed. Yeah, so he doesn't do that. He brings the cat back and then uses the final step to move his horse back. That gets it in position such that it's out of the way, and the camel, the silver camel, can now easily cross past the elephant and come over to the H file. And so from there, it's in good position to take the horse hostage if the gold elephant leaves. Now, what could gold possibly do here? I'm not sure. That horse is definitely not going to be able to get out, so he advances it further. So he advances the horse 2 steps, pushing it deep into silver side, and uses the other 2 steps to advance the camel and the dog on the east wing. So it's probably, Tuks is thinking that, okay, so now there's no way to prevent his horse from getting, or no way to get his horse back to the gold side. So he's definitely going to have to deal with the horse being taken hostage. So he's basically getting prepared to advance his pieces here on the east wing to probably help with keeping control of F6. Now he has to also be careful because now the silver camel is pretty much free to roam around, and pretty soon, even though not right now, but pretty soon, the gold elephant is going to have to probably defend F6. The camel and the horse are in really good position to be able to create a sort of a linchpin situation where the camel takes the horse hostage, and then the horse advances up to H5, and that creates a situation where the elephant will have to defend F6, and if it doesn't, then the horse will be captured. So, so probably on this move, maybe Tuks might do that, where he brings a camel to G6, silver horse to H5, and then the elephant takes 1 step over to G4, and that prevents the gold elephant, from being able to flip the camel back onto the gold side. Okay, so he doesn't do that. Instead, elephant takes 4 steps and starts coming over towards the gold camel. So the gold camel, I think, was looking at possibly going off onto the west wing here and creating problems there. And so the silver elephant is definitely tracking tracking the gold camel now. So both elephants are actually still pretty free and open. The position hasn't gotten into much of a tight configuration yet. The elephants are still kind of free to roam, but Gold does have the horse hostage. Well, not quite. It's not being threatened, but it's still under the control of the silver camel. So Gold can't really afford to move the elephant too far from F6, because sooner or later it'll have to retreat back to prevent the camel from completely taking the horse hostage. Okay, so Gold here shifts the camel more towards the west and advancing some minor pieces on the east wing. I don't know if those minor pieces are really going to be able to help out much on the east wing right now. If the camel gets into any kind of trouble on the west wing, Gold is going to definitely have to bring the elephant over to the west wing instead, because a camel is definitely more important than the horse. So at that point, I don't think any kind of a swarm on the east wing is going to really help out much. So we'll see what 99 decides to do here, if he's going to continue tracking the camel with his elephant, or if he decides to bring it back towards F6. Yeah, so 99 is thinking again for a good amount of time here. He's gotten into his reserve again, and this is probably a good time to think more, because a lot of times these are the kind of moves where it'll usually affect things later on a lot, especially when it seems like you have a lot of choices now, but later on those choices will end up impacting things. So 999 is advancing his horse on the west wing, right towards not being afraid of the camel being there on the west side. So we'll see what happens here, because usually it's not a good thing to advance your horse straight into the area where your opponent's camel is. Okay, so Tuks basically is starting to shift his elephant in position so that it could either be on defending on the east or on the west. I don't know if that means that he's gonna if he's thinking of advancing his pieces on the west wing, although I don't think that he can, or maybe he just did this as a minor threat to just create a minor threat here. But I think on this move, let's see, yeah, so I think on this move, Silver could advance the camel on the G file and take the horse hostage and set up the other horse on H5 so that the camel couldn't easily be pulled out. But you got that cat, which is kind of right on the trap, and you probably needed to move that back so he wouldn't be able to do it on this turn. So I don't know if 99 is thinking about maybe also pulling the camel out to C4 with the elephant. If he does that, then that would be sort of a stronger capture threat than the cat being captured. Although maybe that might not be a good idea, because he would probably lose a cat and a dog in exchange for the camel, and that's probably I don't know, probably not worth it. So although so he does do that. I was going to say, although it seems tempting, I probably wouldn't want to do that. So here 99 of 9 is just offered a cat and possibly a dog for a camel. Although maybe not. Maybe let's see, he might be able to save the dog. So if gold captures the cat right now, I think silver would have to definitely capture the camel on the following turn. Otherwise, gold might be able to save the camel. So if gold then captures, if silver then captures the gold camel immediately, then gold can capture that dog on D6 into the F6 trap. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see what Tuks decides to do here. He might just decide to retreat the camel and save it. But this definitely is a bit of a tempting trade-off here, because probably a cat and dog is perhaps worth the camel. It's always hard to tell with these unbalanced trades, which is when it's worth it or not. So definitely Tuks here decided not to do that, and so he's advanced a rabbit right into the C3 trap to unfreeze the camel, and then move the camel 2 steps and advance his cat to protect the C3 trap again. Okay, so the camel now is shifting now towards the east, and that will definitely attract I think the elephant to start now coming back over to the east. So yeah, maybe all the major pieces will be tied up, fighting around F6 possibly. But silver now has to do something about the cat that's threatened on f6 immediately, so he can't just continue tracking the camel as easily. So yeah, he takes one step with the horse to protect f6, and then uses the other 3 steps to have the elephant track the camel. But he also pulls up the horse that was on b3, and that creates a bit of a minor threat of the rabbit on c3 being captured on the following move if the cat is pulled away or pushed away. So that can easily be saved with the horse going back. But the other thing for gold to worry about is the elephant rolling that camel out to say like d5, and then placing the elephant on maybe like e5, and that threatens the camel being captured into c6. Okay, so gold now just advances the cat north, and doesn't bother to retreat the horse that was on b4 at all, and shifts his camel more towards the east wing. So this is going to make it easier now for the gold elephant to come to that side, but also there's a possibility, I'm sorry, not the silver elephant, but also there's a possibility that the silver elephant could flip the cat on d3 out to d5, and then I think that cat would become extremely vulnerable over there. That also creates a capture threat on c3. So silver right now really doesn't have to worry, I don't think, about anything much happening on the east wing, and could possibly go ahead and flip that cat. Although probably gold might then pull the cat that's on f6 out to f5 and threaten a cat capture into f3, but that could be saved possibly with the horse coming up, unfreezing it, retreating it, but that would take 3 steps, and perhaps the 4th step could then be used to like maybe move the cat on e7 to unfreeze the dog, so that it can again threaten to capture the cat in c6. So yeah, I'm sure 99 of 9 is contemplating that possibility. Whenever you have a cat or dog or rabbit like that immediately adjacent to an elephant or some other stronger piece, it's always very vulnerable to get flipped over to the opponent's side, and then it becomes very difficult for a piece like that to retreat. So 99 of 9 is again deep into his reserve now. He has about minute 40 seconds left in reserve. On each turn, a player can take a maximum of only 5 minutes to make the move, regardless of how much time they have in reserve. So on that turn, 999 used exactly 3 minutes and 30 seconds to make his move, and he decided, in fact, to go ahead and flip the cat, which is probably the biggest threat that he could create at this point, which would be substantial. So now Gold here can't easily just use the elephant to push the dog away. Well, probably could. Could use the elephant to push the dog away and then bring the cat back one step or one step to the east. But he has to also take at least one step around C3 to prevent that rabbit on C3 from being captured. So this is actually a double threat here, where the cat is, the gold cat is being threatened with capture in C6, and the silver rabbit on C3 is also in threat. Okay, so Gold here used 4 steps. He didn't really need to bring the elephant back right now, or maybe he thought that the cat would get pushed over to E6 if he didn't bring the elephant back to E6. But now the rabbit on C3 is completely exposed. Actually, it's not, because yeah, the dog on C6, the silver dog on C6, is also a threat. So silver actually can't capture that rabbit on C3 right now, because if silver does that, then gold would capture the dog on C6. Okay, so gold was in fact okay with bringing the elephant back. So the position, I think, is starting to get into a bit of a tangle now. The players have definitely, well, gold has definitely advanced quite a lot of pieces forward. Silver hasn't advanced that much. The fight is probably going to be more on silver's side here, but yeah, but definitely it's going to get into a bit of a complication pretty soon, I think. Okay, so silver has now gone ahead and pulled the horse with the camel to where it could be more easily threatened. Up until now, that gold horse had only been captured by the silver camel, and I mean, was just under control of the silver camel, but it wasn't anywhere near being threatened in C6 immediately, or I'm sorry, in F6 immediately. But now with this step, silver can very soon threaten to capture the horse in F6. Now gold here has to worry about that cat, which is sort of offside and somewhat exposed, and you know, definitely probably want to bring that cat back. And well, the camel is also a little bit advanced on the east, but I think it's okay since the elephant is there, and so now the camel really doesn't have to to worry about being taken hostage, because there's a hostage there already of the gold horse, so that makes it difficult for the camel to be taken hostage on that side. Although it's not impossible, if the configuration changes so that like the camel will say on H6 and the silver elephant was on G6, then both the camel and the horse could be hostage. So, I mean, you can't totally say that it can't be taken hostage on that side. But chances are better that, since there's already the elephant there and the gold horse is already hostage there, the gold camel is not going to be that easily exposed to being hostage. Okay, so gold now uses 3 steps to pull out the cat, and threatens capturing the cat into F3, and uses 1 step to retreat the horse. That cat can, of course, easily be saved, and I'm sure the elephant is going to want to definitely move over to F5 and get closer to the gold camel there. Now, I don't see too much that the gold camel can do being here on this side. I don't think it'll be able to easily pull out the horse at all, the horse that's on H6, because if the elephant is there on the east wing, it'll be readily available to unfreeze it and retreat the horse. But when the elephant is on F5, it'll be able to threaten that cat being pushed towards the west wing if that cat doesn't retreat soon. So once the elephant goes to F5, I think that cat on E5 is going to have to definitely retreat. Otherwise, it's going to become a easy target to get pulled onto the west side. So I think 99 had about 3 minutes total in reserve, and he again on this move has gone into his reserve of thinking time here, and has got about 2 minutes total left in reserve, I think. Tuks has, on the other hand, been moving pretty fast, and has about 8.5 minutes total in his reserve. Although on each move, a player can't think for more than 5 minutes at a time. So, okay. So, Silver here has decided to, rather than moving the elephant to F5, which is sort of what my instinct was, Silver has decided instead to create a threat on the cat that was on E5. So Silver used the elephant to push the cat over towards the west a little bit, and that threatens capture of the cat into C6. Gold here is going to have to definitely retreat that cat now on this move. Otherwise, it's going to get into some serious trouble. So expect Gold to use the elephant to unfreeze the cat, retreat the cat 2 steps, and then perhaps go back to e6 with the elephant. Although gold doesn't really have to go back to e6 with the elephant right now, I don't think. Another step that gold could do is move the camel over to the H file and sort of threaten pulling out the horse there. Also, the camel is kind of good on the H file there, because then if the gold elephant moves over to say like F5, it'll be in better position to pop out that silver camel and then bring the horse up to G6. Okay, but so gold decides to only retreat the cat back 1 step, and uses the other 2 steps on the west wing here to advance a horse and a rabbit. So I don't know what those 2 steps mean. If gold is thinking of of doing some sort of advance on the west wing, I don't think gold has a lot of opportunities there to be able to do that, especially with the horse being hostaged on the east wing, and of course the camel is also very close to being hostaged. So on this turn, silver could definitely go and further hostage the gold camel that's on the east side there, and probably just need to take 1 step to go and freeze it, and then maybe take other 3 steps to clear up the F6 trap, and that'll definitely cause the gold elephant to have to come back to defend F6. I'm just thinking if maybe the horse could come over and keep that cat on D4 frozen, but anyhow, silver decided not to do that, but instead silver has advanced the horse on the H file, making it a little bit harder for the camel to escape. So now if the camel is unfrozen, the camel will need 2 steps to push the horse away to move over to the H file, but Tuks isn't interested in unfreezing the camel right now, so instead he shifts the elephant back over to the east wing and uses the other steps to shift his cats over. Okay, so gold definitely is getting a lot of the major pieces over around F6, although they're not in very good position, I don't think, to be able to do anything right now. But I think pretty soon here, though, Gold can maybe use the dog to unfreeze the camel, and then possibly start trying to get the silver horse over onto Gold's side using the camel, and using his minor pieces in there to keep the to make it difficult for the elephant to take the camel hostage. Now, 99 here has been thinking quite a bit on all his moves, and so again, he's gone into his reserve, and he now has only about 30 seconds left before he needs to make a move. Okay, so he quickly made a move there to, well, actually he took about 2 minutes on that move. So he pushes the camel back and retreats the horse. Now, that horse might still be at risk here, because Gold can place the camel on H5 and then say, like, maybe advance the dog and follow it up with, say, maybe a rabbit. So if for example, Gold's camel goes to H5, then dog goes to, well, actually, you probably can't do that quite yet, because that would actually take 5 steps. Yeah, because you definitely want to, if you do that, you'd want to put your a couple of pieces on G5 and G4, just to prevent the elephant from getting over at the camel. Okay, so he's started to do that, and yeah, he hasn't completely done that yet, but he is on the following turn threatening to advance the camel and put a rabbit on, say, G4, and then that clears things up for the camel to be able to drag that horse back over to the silver side. And Gold on the last step moved the dog on the west wing from the A file over to the B file. Okay, so Silver here now has the horse hostage, but the F6 trap is kind of has the cat on it, and so it's really not in any serious threat. So actually both elephants really don't have to be there. They're both free to roam about a little bit, but the gold elephant can't really go too far away from there. Okay, so on this move, Silver has decided to push the cat over to the west wing. It's not in any immediate threat of being captured. However, it is probably, if Gold does nothing about it, on the following turn, it would definitely be pushed deeper into the silver side, and probably would not be able to get back after that. So gold here will probably need to take one step with the horse to unfreeze the cat, retreat it, and then maybe retreat the horse onto C3. So that would take up 3 steps there. Fourth step maybe to advance the camel, but no, you probably don't want to do that, because then the elephant would then want to come over to G5 and freeze the camel. So Tuks is probably thinking what to do with some of those steps that, well, probably just one step that he's going to have available. Yeah, so he decides to advance the horse. Or, I'm sorry, he decides to advance the camel. So now in this move, I'm expecting the elephant is probably going to come over to G5 and freeze the camel right there. Now the question is, which way to push the dog? Would you want to push it back towards the gold side, pushing it south, or push it towards the west? Yeah, I might want to just push it south, just so that it doesn't give gold more pieces around the F6 trap. Yeah, 99.9 is kind of low on reserve, so he only has 36 seconds in reserve. He's still using the time from his move, and so he makes his move in about a minute and 19 seconds. So he's decided not to go towards the east wing with the elephant. Instead, he's used all 4 steps to create a threat on the horse, which is the horse on the west wing. Now that threat could easily be prevented with just 2 steps. The cat could unfreeze the horse, and then the horse steps back over to B4, and then that leaves 2 steps for the camel to be able to pull the horse out. Okay, so he does that quite differently than what I was thinking. So he used his rabbit to unfreeze the horse and bring it back. And instead of using the other 2 steps to pull the horse with his camel, he decided instead to advance his cat and move the dog over. Okay, so I see what he's trying to do there. He's basically trying to get pieces in the way of the silver elephant getting over to the east wing. So yeah, right now with those 2 pieces being there, the silver elephant can't come all the way over to the point where it can freeze the camel. Although I think on this turn, I expect 99.9 silver to create a threat on one of the cats again. Maybe even just flipping that cat on D3 over to D5, and thereby creating a double threat on both the cat and the rabbit on c3. Okay, instead he decides to flip the cat on e4 over to c4, just getting it out of the way. Now on this turn, gold could also flip the cat on f6 over to f4 and trade cats. Although I don't know if it would be worth it for gold to flip that cat over to this side, because if silver decides not to trade it and instead saves the cat, that cat could possibly cause some trouble around f3, since there aren't many other strong pieces around f3, so that cat could become like the strongest piece around f3, and in that case then gold would have to think about bringing the camel back to deal with the cat. Okay, so gold has decided to not flip that cat, but instead retreat the cat that's on the west wing while advancing again the cat on the east wing, again trying to keep that elephant busy and occupied and prevent it from coming over to the east wing. Okay, now on this move though, I think perhaps gold could flip the rabbit on d4 over to on d3 over to d5, and of course the rabbit would not be able to retreat, and that would definitely create a situation where gold has to deal with the rabbit capture in f6. But again, silver again is continuing to flip the cat back over to the west. So it's going to be a question of how long can they just keep on rotating these pieces around, but eventually it's not going to be possible for gold to get a cat over to e4 to prevent the elephant from getting over, going onto that side. So now instead he advances a rabbit onto that side, and so let's see if 99 of 9 decides to flip the rabbit over. Yeah, now if 99 of 9 does flip the rabbit over, that rabbit is not going to be able to retreat, and it's going to be threatened capture in c6. Oh wow, okay. So this is something that we've been missing here for a while. So silver has now created a very serious threat of capturing the western horse in c6. So the elephant is definitely going to have to leave defending f6 and go over to defending c6. And at that point, so the dog will have to, so I was going to say the dog will have to move away then from f6, and so now the camel is guarding f6. So this kind of changes the dynamics a little bit. So now on the following move, I'm wondering if silver here is going to go over to the east wing with the elephant, and possibly threaten the camel there, but that would leave the western horse, the gold horse, free, and it could create a cross through c6 and create a capture threat around c6. So yeah, I mean, gold I think is in position to be able to have the weaker pieces take control of the f6 without worrying too much. See, because that dog now is pretty strong around f6, since the horses are on the edges. So the dog, say like being on, the dog being on, say like e6, is in good position there. Alright, so silver has just basically shifted the elephant where it can continue to maintain a bit of a high hostage on the horse, and advanced silver horse on the west wing to create some, possibly prevent the horse from being unfrozen a little bit. Although on this turn it could be unfrozen and then move away to the A file. But if gold doesn't do that right now, I think the silver horse would probably go to B4 and prevent pieces from being able to unfreeze the horse. And also silver has moved the cat off of f6. That cat was at threat of being flipped by the camel to f4, and if that had happened, silver would be in a bit of trouble trying to save that cat. Okay, so gold has two traps that gold has to defend here, both c6 and f6. Horses being hostaged at both of those traps, and the elephant is protecting c6 while the camel is protecting f6. And I think gold did a good move here by advancing more minor pieces forward, making it now difficult for the elephant to cross through and get to the east wing, while at the same time also unfreezing the horse on the B file so that it can move away. not only move away, but in fact it could say even start creating, helping the elephant there to invade C6 and start actually creating threats over there. Yeah, so I think even though the position is sort of still not too tied up, I think it kind of looks good for gold here at this point. Gold's got a lot of pieces advanced. Of course, no captures have happened yet. We're on move 26 G now. No captures, and situation I think does look better for gold. So on this turn, gold could use the cat to unfreeze the horse, and then the horse could cross through C6 and get over to C7, and that creates a situation where then the gold elephant would have to stay on say like C5 to defend the C6 trap, because you wouldn't want to put the horse on C5, because then the gold elephant could cross through C6 and push the horse down to down to C4 and threaten to capture it in C3. So the center is pretty much cluttered, yeah, and so gold did exactly that. So now gold is creating, threatening to invade C6, and so now I think on this turn silver has to put the elephant on C5 to continue defending C6. Although I guess probably it's also possible to put the horse on C5, but then you'd have to put the dog into C6, and then maybe want to advance, say like the rabbit, up to B6. But of course that leaves the possibility that gold might want to get the dog over onto B6 to frame the silver dog on C6. Although it will take a few steps, or actually a couple of turns to even try to do that. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting position here, how the camel on F5 is right now safe, just because there's a rabbit there on E4. So had that rabbit not been there, that camel on F6 could easily be captured by the silver elephant. But now with the rabbit being on E4, that path is blocked, so that the silver elephant is sort of kind of stuck a little bit onto the west wing. But silver here now has started to clear that up, moving the dog further into the silver side, and using the horse to defend C6. Okay, so now on this turn, let's see if gold decides to move the cat on C4, and yeah, like, so gold has actually done that. I was thinking, yeah, to definitely push that horse over to C4, the silver horse over to C4, and now that creates a double threat Silver now has to defend c6, but also that horse is in very serious danger of being captured. So I think on this turn, gold has to, well, I don't know, I don't think gold has any way to really save that horse, but is there any threat that gold can create which is substantially more and couldn't and would require more than 2 steps to prevent, because the horse can easily be, the silver horse on c4 can easily be captured in just 2 steps, and that leaves gold 2 more steps to be able to defend against any kind of threat that silver might create on this move. Yeah, so the position has definitely gotten all tangled up now, and with all the pieces being on the board, there's lots of tactical possibilities. Gold and silver also is kind of low in reserve here. Okay, so basically what silver has decided to do is open up the f6 trap, where on the following turn the camel could be pushed into f6, and it becomes framed, and then the dog on d6, or I'm sorry, on e6 would be pinned, and so if gold was to capture the horse on this turn, gold wouldn't be able to retreat the elephant back to e5 to prevent the dog from being pulled on by the elephant and prevent the camel from being captured. So on this turn, gold definitely has to unfreeze the camel and do something around f6, maybe even maybe even put the rabbit, use the rabbit to unfreeze the camel, and then move the camel to g5, and then advance the rabbit to okay. Yeah, so the camel is definitely going to get framed, although I didn't see this possibility, and that is that the horse is available to help break the frame. So that horse that was on c7 has moved over towards the west, or towards the east a little bit, so that it can easily help break the frame. Although I think silver could say, like, maybe advance a rabbit to c6 and prevent the horse from being able to pull the rabbit. So on this turn, wow, that was pretty risky. I don't know if okay, so I guess silver didn't like the prospects of trying to freeze or trying to frame the camel on f6, or even the dog on f6, and instead has used the elephant to take the horse, the western horse, hostage on c6. Okay, so now the gold elephant is definitely going to come up to c5 here, and so the question is, will silver be able to create a situation where both horses are threatened capture, but yet only the gold elephant can defend both those squares. It might be possible to create that kind of a situation and then cause the camel on f5 to leave from f5, but right now I don't see how that's going to happen, especially with that rabbit on e4 is becoming a real problem for silver. Wow. Yeah, so now gold has just continued to advance more pieces. Gold's position is actually getting really good here. And pretty soon I think gold is looking to even get perhaps the dog over onto b6 and possibly popping out the silver dog that was on b6. Yeah. So so the fight is definitely on silver's side, but silver is the one who's having a hard time defending here. So gold is gone, on the offensive quite a bit here. And so gold is actually up a silver horse, captured a horse, and I don't see any compensation for silver for doing that, and I don't think it improved silver's position after that capture at all. So gold is actually looking pretty good, but now I see silver is sort of eyeing that the area around f3 is very open and vulnerable. So it looks like silver is eyeing to perhaps advance the horse down towards f3 along with maybe a rabbit, which I think is probably a good option here. Even if silver loses that horse around f3, it would require the camel to come over to do that, and if the camel has to leave f5, then that leaves f6 completely vulnerable. So I think it's probably a really good chance of silver being able to get that horse down towards f3, get it into that f3 quadrant, and create some problems there along with an advanced rabbit. Okay, so yeah, so silver is starting to do that. And on the previous move on 30G, gold has definitely set himself up so that he can pop out the dog on on b6 and replace that position with the gold dog, and then that creates a situation then where on the following move the dog can then be thrown over, the silver dog can then be thrown over to c4, and then from there it could be easily captured into C3. Now the question is gold going to get free steps to be able to do that before silver starts to create threats around F3. Okay, so that final step, okay, so gold has popped the dog that was on B6 out to B5, and on the final step, gold used to move the cat over to the east to help defend around F3 should the horse decide to advance over there or create any kind of threats over there. Although I think what this does is allows silver now to free up that western dog and advance it deeper into gold's side, and cause, so now the silver dog could be freed up to cause threats around C3, and that would probably require the dog on the A file now to have to retreat back towards C3, because definitely the elephant can't come back down that way, because that would just create all kinds of havoc around C6. So silver can get yeah, so silver definitely decides to do that, sending the dog deep into the gold side, and so silver basically can start creating havoc a little bit around C3 and F3, and so gold has to have some pieces back now on the gold side to help defend those traps. So it's going to be interesting to see if the gold dog now retreats back to C3, or the other option that gold has here is, yeah, I was going to say to use the gold dog to push the rabbit onto C6, and actually I was thinking of just using other steps to move the rabbit that's on E4, on D4 towards the west, but instead I think gold's move was even better, just using minor pieces to defend C6 and freeing up the elephant now to go after that silver dog. Yeah, so usually in this kind of situation, what you do is just maybe stash that silver dog onto, say, something like A1, and just make it really, really hard for that elephant to come down after it. Yeah, it's going to be difficult here for silver to regain control of C6, even though gold is defending it only with a dog and a cat. Oh, interesting. Okay, so silver has decided to use the dog to bring it over to C6 and free up the elephant, at least temporarily, and creating a threat on the gold camel. I don't know if this is gonna last because well, actually, yeah. So gold would probably need to bring that horse now over to E6 to defend the F6 trap. You can't just move the camel away, because if you move the camel away, then the other horse is the horse on G7 is in threat of being captured. So you really have to continue defending F6, and the gold elephant is too far now, and the center is sort of congested. So the gold elephant wouldn't be able to do that. Okay, so oh wow. Okay, so gold has defended using the horse and using and pushing a rabbit into F6, which I think was a very good move to push that rabbit into F6 rather than to have pushed the rabbit out of the way in the horse getting to E6. With that rabbit being on F6, it makes it a little bit harder for silver to be able to capture on F6, and that buys gold more time to go after, say, like the dog or something, because now if the elephant pushes the horse back, it's still not a problem for gold. The camel can, well, actually no, it can't continue staying there, but the other minor pieces can advance up to prevent the gold elephant from getting at the camel. So gold is going to have to take 3 steps here to either advance the minor pieces up or to bring the elephant over to E5, because what the camel is actually at threat of being captured on F6 on the following turn if gold does nothing here, because the elephant would rotate out and put the rabbit onto E6 and freeing up F6 to capture the camel. So gold has to defend against that. Meanwhile, silver has advanced a rabbit further onto the gold side in the F6 in the F3 quadrant, where there aren't many gold pieces, strong gold pieces that could deal with the horse there. So that's that could become a serious threat. I think if gold doesn't take some action against that, but the gold pieces are probably going to be needed to defend the gold camel. So this is probably a tough situation right now here for gold, and I can see why Tuks is starting to think quite a bit on this turn. Yeah, also, the other thing is that, wow, ooh, okay, so he's only used 2 steps to defend the camel, and used the other 2 steps to definitely secure a dog that he can capture on C3. Ah, man, but this is going to allow silver to get a rabbit very deep into the gold side here on this turn if silver decides to do that. Although I don't think it'll be creating a gold threat immediately, because that rabbit will have to be the rabbit on G2 will have to be pushed down, and so even if the rabbit on the H file advances 2 steps, it doesn't create an immediate gold threat, although it does still set up quite a strong threat in the following moves. And the thing is, the camel can also advance over into the F3 quadrant. The silver camel can also advance into the F3 quadrant to help with the goal attack, because you could just let that horse go on the horse on G7, just let it go, because there isn't any kind of a advanced rabbit around there to create any kind of goal threat. But instead, what silver has done is opened up the F6 trap, and now that just that's also a very good move. That makes it really difficult now for gold. The elephant is way out of range to be able to come and defend F6. So gold is going to start losing some major material around F6 very soon. So on this turn, I think, wow, probably at least a rabbit is going to go in F6, I think. Unless, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so actually, silver can create a gold threat with 4 steps here by pushing the rabbit on H1 to G1 with the horse, and then advancing the other rabbit 2 steps further. Actually that's so silver's situation now suddenly is starting to look good. Because gold has now lost control of F6, and there's also a serious gold threat that silver can start creating very soon. Yeah, Tuks is in a pretty deep think here. His used up his move time and is going into his reserve here. He has about 2 minutes left in reserve. What can gold do here in this situation? Wow, I don't know. Both horses are hostage. The camel is totally vulnerable at F6. I mean, you at the very least want to get that camel away from there. And there's I don't see any way that gold can regain control of F6 at all. So F6 is just totally sitting there ready to be like a black hole. Any piece that comes near F6, any gold piece that comes near F6 is just going to get sucked into it. And if nothing comes there, then the horses are a threat. So Yeah, so Gold has decided to just sacrifice a rabbit, at least on this turn, and then retreated the camel. Of course, that rabbit is gonna just get sucked into the F6 black hole now, and Gold doesn't have any serious threats after that Silver needs to deal with. So after that rabbit is captured, Silver will still actually have one more step left, which could be used to say, like, maybe advance the rabbit on the H file. I don't know if that would be good, actually. Probably not. But yeah, I don't think Silver has to do anything much more other than just hold that position around F6. That's really bad. So Gold is going to have to say, okay, I'm going to lose that those horses. Yeah, Gold probably will need to just let go of that dog around C3. Oh man. Wow, okay, so that was interesting. I don't know what Silver was thinking here with this last move, but Silver advanced the dog on D6, making it possible to capture the rabbit on C6. Of course, both of Gold's horses are at threat around F6. So, oh wow, yeah, very tough position here for Gold. I think that elephant is probably going to have to just hightail it out of there, leave the dog, and start coming towards F6. You lose one horse at least around F6, but I think the elephant should be able to get over to F6 in time to defend it after losing one horse. But at least that will free up the Gold camel to be able to come down to deal with the horse on the H file. Yeah, and possibly even be able to take that horse hostage and eventually capture it. So Gold can, I think, still salvage the position, but if that elephant doesn't get out of there soon enough, it's going to be really tough. Okay, probably shouldn't have captured that dog, but Gold decided to capture the dog, and that's probably going to cost Gold another horse, and that's gonna, oh man, yeah, and then that's gonna make it really difficult, I think. And so now on this turn, the camel is also a threat. So Gold definitely is not going to be able to prevent losing the other horse. So the camel is going to have to retreat. The elephant, at most, will only be able to get to, like, say, D5. And that's going to cause the other horse to be captured in F6. Oh man. And then that frees up both the elephant and the camel, both the silver elephant and the silver camel, and that's just really, really bad. Wow. The position is really turned around right now. Silver, by advancing that horse and advancing that dog deep into Gold's side, was able to create just enough of a counterplay to get Gold's elephant occupied, and then get it out of position, so that F6 became extremely vulnerable. Okay, so on this turn, Gold has decided to capture the dog in C6. Clearly, Gold is contemplating advancing rabbits on the west wing eventually here, and oh yeah, because okay, so both the gold horses have been captured. So Silver's position is materially a little bit ahead, not too much, because Gold did get a dog in exchange for one of the horses, and so now Gold does have a good position around C6. So can the elephant come over now to defend C6 in time? Yeah, I mean, definitely the elephant is going to have to come around to C6, and perhaps yeah, the pieces around C6 are going to have to scatter, but if they do that, that gives Gold enough time to advance a rabbit over on the west wing and create quite a bit of a very strong Gold threat over on the west wing. And I think that's probably going to be pretty hard for Silver to deal with. So actually Gold's position is not that bad either. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And if the silver elephant gets occupied around C6, and especially if there's an advanced rabbit around C6, it's going to take more than just the silver elephant to defend that quadrant. Then that leaves the gold camel free to go after the horse that's advanced on the H file. So then the silver camel will have to start coming down towards that side. Ooh. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. So silver, instead of scattering pieces from C6, has left one of the rabbits there, and hasn't made any progress. Doesn't seem to be showing any interest in getting the elephant over to defend C6. Instead, Silver is thinking of working on that advanced rabbit on the H file and trying to work it towards goal. Yeah, so Silver has advanced the gold or the silver rabbit on H4 further, and moved the elephant into the F3 quadrant to help out over there. So this is going to become a bit of a goal race, but I think here gold might be able to defend against this advance by using the camel. Yeah, so the camel can go and push the rabbit on h3 back one space, freezing the horse. And so that takes up all 4 steps. So gold won't have any steps left to advance anything on the west wing, or complete any captures over on the west wing. But I think that pretty much gold will have kind of smothered silver's attempts at creating a gold threat here. If gold just uses the camel here to push back that silver rabbit, and then after that gold will have plenty of time, I think, to be able to create some serious gold threats on the west wing. And those will be much harder to deal with if the silver elephant isn't over on the west wing. Ooh. Okay, so gold doesn't use all 4 steps in defense. Gold decides to use 2 steps on offense by advancing one of the rabbits on the B file up 2 spaces. So is this enough? Are those 2 steps that were taken in defense enough for silver, or for gold, I'm sorry, to really be able to defend that position? Yes, these get into situations that are kind of quite complex to figure out, especially with both players starting to create races here. Who's going to be faster? Is gold going to get a rabbit up and make it, pretty much, if gold does get a rabbit up there, it's going to be pretty much impossible for silver to defend against that. Or is silver going to be able to create a threat here soon enough that gold can't defend against? Okay, so silver has continued and is totally now committed to going for the goal race, and silver elephant has pushed the camel off, and so now the question is, can gold continue to defend here? I think gold can probably, I was going to say, use 4 steps in defense, and so gold has, I think, pretty much shut down silver's chances of creating a gold threat here, I think. But it's always difficult to really tell in these kind of positions. And now if gold advances the rabbit on the west wing, that's going to be an immediate gold threat which has to be dealt with. So on this turn, silver has to create a serious gold threat. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult for silver to win this game. So, see, the only thing I could think of here is maybe, silver pulls out the rabbit on the B file, moves the horse over and maybe advances the rabbit, but that actually doesn't create an immediate gold threat. So gold would have 4 steps to say like, yeah. So silver did exactly that, and so this isn't an immediate gold threat, and so gold now can use all 4 steps in offense, I think, and advance, say like the rabbit on the b file all the way up to b7. Well, maybe even not to b7, but even just to b6, and then that would start requiring gold to take at least 1 step, or I'm sorry, would require silver to take at least 1 step to defend against that goal, and creating a situation where gold could start capturing pieces. But with the 3 steps, silver could then again start creating, defending with 1 step and using 3 steps in offense. Silver could again start creating gold threats on the east wing. So this is going to be very interesting to see who actually has a faster goal here. Perhaps if gold on this turn maybe spends a few more steps in defense rather than offense, it might be able to shut down silver's prospects of gold completely. I definitely want to get that camel. Oh, actually, I didn't even notice that camel is is under false protection. So the camel actually could be captured by silver if it doesn't get off of that trap square soon. But of course, if gold creates a goal-in-one type of threat, silver wouldn't be able to capture the gold camel because it requires all 4 steps to do that capture. But wow, very interesting position. It's very hard for me to tell if silver's threat here is serious and can't be stopped. But I would say lean more towards gold, because I think gold does have much better defense to be able to prevent a goal here. And if gold, once gold is able to shut down silver's offense here, then once gold goes on the offense on the west wing, that is much harder to stop. Yeah, okay, so I don't know if that was a good way to do it. So gold has taken 3 steps in defense and 1 step on offense. Immediately right here now, I think silver should just push the camel onto f3 with the elephant, and then use other 2 steps to push the cat from b1 over to c1. That creates an immediate gold threat, and it makes it a little bit harder for gold to continue defending. And right now gold doesn't have an immediate gold threat, so silver can afford to spend 4 steps here on offense. Pretty soon I don't think silver is going to have the luxury to be able to spend all the steps on offense here. But let's see if silver were to do that, yeah, so gold could prevent gold by taking one step, and then gold would have 3 steps then to use on offense. Yeah, so actually maybe following what I suggested, if gold just used 2 steps on defense and 2 on offense, then silver's position looks really, really bad. Yeah, I think gold is going to win this. Let's see, any other possibilities here. One other thing that silver might want to consider is just, say, throwing that camel over to the H file. So ooh. Okay, so instead, silver uses 2 steps on offense and 2 steps on defense. Actually, really 1 step around C6 to stop that goal. The 1 step of moving the rabbit on the east wing, I don't know if that was really necessary, because I mean, even though there is a rabbit on G5, it didn't have any serious prospects of reaching goal. But I think silver might have had 1 extra step left, which couldn't really be used to push or pull, and so used it to just close up that side. Okay, so I see gold just, okay, so can gold afford to just capture this cat right now? Probably not, because if gold does that, then silver would push the cat with the horse and then advance the elephant further south, and that would start creating a very strong gold threat for silver. In fact, that would create an immediate gold threat, and but actually that could be defended by the camel stepping up, but no, but then, yeah, then the horse would be able to push the cat away, and then that would just, yeah, create a really bad situation for gold. Wow, both players are right on each other's throat. You know, it's almost like it's really hard for me to work out who has a faster goal race here. But what a game! I mean, both players definitely appears to me to have winning chances. I thought gold was doing better, but this move by silver actually looks pretty good. You know, gold has to probably it would be really good if gold could get a rabbit over to, say, like C1. So maybe that might be gold's best move, to get maybe that dog over to C1, or maybe even the horse to C1, and that would pretty much, or I'm sorry, the camel to C1, and that would kind of at least stop. Yeah, that would pretty much stop silver's chances here. Yeah, I think that stops silver from being able to create any more gold threats. Okay, so or at least won't be able to create any more gold threats immediately. Okay, so now gold has to, well, yes, silver has to consider if it's going to just like maybe retreat from there and bring the elephant back over to C6, or if silver is going to continue to try to do something here. Although I don't see a whole lot of prospects. Okay, so one thing silver can do is at least temporarily frame or actually take control of F3 by pushing the rabbit on F2 to E2, so push it towards the west, and then use the other two steps to bring the dog over to F4. If silver was to do that, gold could then have, I think, definitely have enough time to be able to capture that cat at C6, and yeah, so then could silver follow that up with any serious gold threat? Silver could capture around F3 then after having taken control of F3, but I don't think that, well, capturing the dog wouldn't really help. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I see what silver is up to here. Silver has moved the camel back, planning to eventually bring the camel to C8 if the cat is captured, and oh yeah, so and then but if silver gets 4 steps on offense, silver is going to push that rabbit, or actually there's a false protection here. Silver could capture that dog or that rabbit around F3, but it might actually be better for silver to even not capture, but push the rabbit on F2 over to E2 with the elephant, and then pull the cat up with the horse, and that would, yeah, okay, so oh wow. So gold has now completely blockaded, it has used all 4 steps here to completely blockade off the west wing, such that now if the gold rabbit reaches B7, it's an unstoppable goal into. Okay, and so silver very quickly now on this move has, wow, Yeah, so players are making rather fast moves now. So Silver did do what I was considering, which was to push away the rabbit and pull up the cat. Oh, wow. Well, these guys are playing like bots. It's usually like when a bot sees a win in two kind of position, it just moves like very, very fast. So all of these moves are made extremely fast, and suddenly Gold has, I think, an unstoppable goal in one here. Yeah, I think the game is over. Went really fast towards the end here. Wow. Yeah, no way for Silver to defend against that one. Wow, very interesting game. Both players had a very strong, serious gold threats going on there, except that Gold was able to shut down Silver's gold threat. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wow, yeah, that is stoppable. Okay. So I think I missed something there. Yeah, so if the cat pulls back to C6, the dog is frozen and wouldn't be able to pull back to C7. Yeah, so okay, wow. It's not over yet. Very interesting. Wow. And so Silver has also created a gold threat again, threatening to send the rabbit across and over to go into E1 by just stepping the elephant back one step and then 3 steps with the rabbit to go on E1. So Gold will need to take at least 1 step here to defend against that, but could the other 3 steps be used to create an unstoppable gold threat for Gold? Wow, I don't think so. So 1, 2. Yeah, wow. So it's not over yet. Still a very exciting game. Wow. I actually had thought that it was over, but I didn't notice that if the camel came over to D8, that freezes the dog so that it can't pull the rabbit on B8 and go. So this game is still alive, and Gold can take 1 step to defend this gold threat right now, but I don't think Gold can create a gold threat well soon enough that well, yeah, I think, okay, so Gold could use the other 3 steps to move the rabbit to A7, and then the dog could push the rabbit on B8 down to B7, but then Silver could just take 1 step with the camel again to freeze the dog, and then have 3 steps to use an offense. yeah, I mean, this is getting quite interesting. It's Gold's turn. I mean, it was a good thing that both players made some fast moves there. So they had built up some reserve time, which they are now, again, using to think very deeply. Wow, what a game. This is quite an exciting game. Both players having such strong goal threats, and yeah, and you know, both elephants at different quadrants, and both players having like completely taken control of opponents' traps where they can immediately capture, but not being able to capture. Okay, I'm seeing that Tuks is getting a little bit low here on time. Okay, so Tuks has decided to use 2 steps to defend, and use the other 2 steps to move the elephant across the C6 trap more over to the western side. So I think what he's planning to do there is threatening to pull that A8 rabbit up. So if Gold was to get 4 steps all for offense, Gold could then pull that rabbit on A8 up even 1 step, and that creates an unstoppable goal. But meanwhile, so on this turn though, Silver does not have to defend against. Oh no, actually, yeah, Silver does not have to defend against a gold threat. So Silver can use 4 steps here on offense. And so what might be? Oh wow! So what if Silver now were to step the rabbit on the G file over to the H file, and then use the other 3 steps to pull the camel up, and that would actually create a goal in 1 threat. Because on the following move, the elephant could pull the. Ooh. So he did it differently. Yeah, actually, that also. Ooh. Oh wow, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's also a very strong goal threat, but is it stoppable? Wow. Okay, no, I think that one is not stoppable. Yeah. Oh wow. Let's see. Yeah, because if so the elephant can push the dog away, and then the rabbit can reach goal. So to defend against that, Gold will need to move the rabbit on A1 over to D1. That's 3 steps. Or actually no. So the camel could also push away the rabbit. So the camel is not frozen, so it can actually doesn't even need to push away the rabbit. The camel, I think, could just push the horse, say to back to G3, and then move the rabbit on H1 over to G1. Wow, Tuks has only a few seconds in reserve. But instead he decided to push the rabbit, completely exposing the camel to be captured, but yeah. And now I think it'll be unstoppable here. So Silver can basically just move the horse back, move the rabbit to G3, and then use the other two steps to push the camel into F3, and then that I think becomes totally unstoppable. Yep. Wow. So, well, yeah, I think, I don't think gold has any defense now against this. So I think, this game is going to be won by Silver here. So yeah, the rabbit on H1 could come up to G2 to at least appear to be blocking gold, but the elephant could just pull it away, and then the rabbit on G3 can go. So gold just creates a gold threat of his own, completely leaving. Yep. So Silver wins, but just by a very, very, very small hair. I mean, it was such a close race, a very close race. I don't think I've ever seen such a close goal race before, where both players were trying to reach goal and for such a long time, and both of them being so close to reaching goal, but it's still very hard to decide which player was going to reach goal first. What a game. Yes, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Z-Man Games and Board Games for Us, for sponsoring the Arimaa Challenge, and thank the players for putting on a wonderful show today. Amazing. This was such a close game. Such a close game. I for a long time there, I thought Tuks had a really good chance to win, and had built a really strong position, but then Silver came back with some counterplay and definitely turned the game around. So I'm going to see if maybe I can find the players in the chat room, and maybe even see if they might be able to come into TeamSpeak to talk. So there's also a prediction contest where the spectators can try to predict which player is going to win the game, and also they have to try to get right the number of moves in which the game will finish. So this game, there was 19 people who predicted that 99 of 9 would win in 51 moves on average, 51 moves on average, and there were 12 people who predicted that Tuks would win with an average of 52 moves. So of course the result of the game was that 99 of 9 won in 48 moves, and so the winner of the prediction contest was Omar, my son actually, who happened to predict 48 moves, and he just barely beat out Arimaa, who had predicted 47 moves, and then the so it was very close prediction contest there as well. So this was a really exciting game, and I'm gonna take it off the air now, and just wanted to once again thank our sponsors, Z-Man Games and Board Games for Us, and thank the spectators for coming out to watch, and the players for putting on, wow, what an exciting game. So putting on such a great game. Couldn't ask for a more exciting game. Alright then.